Good morning and welcome to morning prayer from All Saints Vicarage once again. We are beginning today by celebrating Ash Wednesday, a time of reflection, a time of thinking about our relationship with God, a time for making our lives more simple and easier to understand. We're going to be using this book at home in Lent so that we can work our way through the things we have at home that reflect God and that help us to work our way towards God. It says in Revelation, "Listen, I am standing at the door knocking. If you hear my voice, open the door. I will come to you and eat with you and you with me. To the one who conquers, I will give a place with me on my throne, just as I myself conquered and sat down with my Father on his throne. Let anyone who has an ear to listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches." How much attention do you pay to your front door? The lock on mine broke recently, and I suddenly became very interested in how it works, whether it would work and whether I could actually end up locked in or locked out. The little button on the catch broke off. I lost confidence in security. The convenience of that door that is open and closed at least a dozen times a day, so I went to a locksmith and got a new door lock put on. After a while, I was aware that if a mistake was made in this process, the security of my family and everything we have could be jeopardised. A front door is not just for keeping people out, of course, but also for letting them in. As a vicar, I often open my door to people and have more visitors than most. Occasionally I have visitors who I don't want to or should not let in. I've learnt the hard way to be at least a little bit wary. Sometimes a stranger will invite themselves in and be violent. We all get unwelcome visitors from time to time, selling, buying, conning, manipulating, and we have to engage in that ongoing inner dialogue. Are they genuine? What is the real cost of mistakenly giving them something as opposed to shutting the door? It's better to be conned a little bit than contribute to someone's ongoing suffering. I don't know. When the words of Christ is heard by John in this passage from Revelation, they conjure up an image of Jesus on our doorstep, knocking on a door that we have locked from the inside and only we can open. He does not batter the door or break it down. We may wonder whether he comes as stranger or friend. The artist William Holman Hunt painted many religious works, but the most famous is undoubtedly The Light of the World. The largest one went on tour because it was so popular and now stands in the Middlesex Chapel of St Paul's, where it forms a backdrop to daily prayer. It is poorly lit and not easy to attend to detail, but the figure of Christ holding a lantern and knocking on a wooden door is clear enough. Momentary study reveals the door has no handle. It can only be opened from within. The door is the door to our hearts, and knock as loudly as he might, only we can open that door and let Christ in. It may be a sentimental picture, beloved of the Victorians, and easy to feel warm inside about, but metaphor can be pushed a little when we think about the front doors of our own homes. Generally our doors are not really closed, they're locked. Thus to open them is a two-stage process that assumes that our door has oiled hinges and is unobstructed, and that the lock works. For like my vicarage door with a broken lock, our spiritual doors must be maintained and cared for. Generally we don't pay attention to things until they break, but maintenance is vital. This is in a deep sense what Lent is all about. As we enter into Lent, a period of penitence and self-reflection and self-denial, we may also like to think of it as a time for spiritual maintenance. It can be a 7-week period for making sure that we are truly at home to Jesus, that the door of our hearts is truly open, and that the rest of our lives and the rest of our spiritual home is in good working order. The word Lent derives from the Old English for spring, and we all know about spring cleaning, whether we do it or not. Lent is a good period for spiritual spring cleaning too. As the days unfold between now and Easter, when we welcome the risen Lord, our invitation is to look around your home, consider its furnishings and fittings, and in doing so reflect upon the furnishings and fittings of our faith. They may need polishing, repairing, sprucing up, or even replacing. Furthermore, the objects of our daily lives are always with us, and we readily overlook, ignore, or take them for granted. Yet they may serve as a constant reminder of our pilgrimage of faith, and we can learn to see them in a new light, enabling us to reflect afresh on God's Word and our place in it. As Lent begins, let us look around our homes in a new, spiritually creative and reflective way. Remember today especially that the place to start is the front door, which can be the metaphorical doorway into this period of Lent, as well as the door we open to let Christ in, so that he can rule our hearts and lead us forward in faith and hope and love. Lord, you stand at the threshold of every heart. Seek the welcome of an open door. As our doorbells invite us to welcome friends and strangers alike, may we also invite and welcome you as a permanent guest into our lives. Amen.